Welcome to Power, Sex, Money, Podtalk. My God, I'm so excited. We had a show last month and it was amazing.
Yeah.
What we talked about, I'm sure you were there. But in case you missed it, please go and check it out on the channel. But for today, what's in store, only God knows, but you will too. My name is Donald and I get to host today, but not alone. I have an amazing duo of people. I have a mother, an engineer, a businesswoman in action. You guys. And I also have radio's finest sitting right here with me. I talk her, but she loves to listen. Please welcome with me, Paula and Mrs. Kauma. I'm so glad to have you guys on the show today.
Thank you. We're glad to have your host. Well done, Don.
Thank you.
Well done last month.
Yeah, it's been a whole month. Can you imagine? And we're back here again. But how are you doing today, Mrs. Kauma?
Well, I'm really okay. Thank you.
And you? Me, I am thirsty. Quite thirsty. What about you, Paula? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a bit being on this side is different.
You used
feels
to
like
squeezing.
Feels like I should be saying, "Hi, Dawn, welcome." Yeah. So I'm a bit nervous about it.
Do you want to try? Do you want to spin?
Yeah, let's do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This conversation is going to be happening on Power FM.
By the right.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. That's what she does.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're talking about rebellion and independence today. But even before we get any further into it, I want to break the ice. So these are hot takes. Quick fire. Don't think about it. Just act on it. All right? Is it rebellion or is it independence? When, you sneak out to a party without telling your parents.
Rebellion.
Quick.
Oh, are we supposed to answer at the same time?
Whoever said it first. Just say it.
Cool.
Refusing to go to church because you want to explore other beliefs.
Independence.
I
think.
Could be independence.
Yeah.
Okay. Telling your parents you're switching the course unit without their input. Independence.
Without their input.
You haven't told them. You tell them after. Tell them when you're done.
Independence.
A
combination?
In between.
That's a new term.
Yeah, because it would have been independence, except independence is not ashamed. So, why aren't you telling them? It makes it rebellion.
So just that of not telling them, that's what crosses the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they are your stewards right now. So
we have rebellion, Mrs. Kalba.
Well, I thought it was independence. I mean, I did that once. So, yeah. And I thought I was being very independent.
What were you actually doing? Because you say you thought. Did you change the thought?
No, I left school. But I need to backtrack a bit. So I was in high school. I didn't like the school I was in.
Okay.
I then discovered I could go to uni after my 5th year. That's high school. All I had to do was get a certain level of grades, and I could only go to schools in Scotland. I couldn't go to England. So I thought, fine. Did my exams, applied for university. My parents knew nothing. Came home and told them, I'm not going back to school. I'm going to uni.
I'm going to Scotland.
University.
My goodness.
And you even mean moobs?
Mook, Scotland.
Scotland.
Anyway, another one. Changing your outfit at school because your parents didn't like what you were going to wear.
Rebellion.
That catches a lot of people. Blocking a parent on social media so they can't see what you post.
Rebellion. Is that the word?
Indie-rebellion.
That one.
I don't know how we're going to mix. But anyway.
That one I've done before, so I can't.
You're biased.
Yeah, I'm biased.
I also think it depends on the age.
Yeah.
Preteen.
Rebellion.
Preteen, rebellion.
Post-teen.
Rebellion.
Independence,
rebellion.
Preteen, rebellion.
Rebellion.
Post-teen, independence.
All right. Quitting a job your parents helped you to get without telling them first. Mrs. Kauma, I don't know.
Why are you laughing? Is this personal?
There's something.
No, I've never quit a job without telling my parents. But then I'd left home shortly after I started work, so probably didn't apply.
Yeah.
Have you?
To start with, I've never gotten a job that my parents were excited about. So I think independence. I think independence.
I don't think rebellion really falls in this.
Yeah.
For that particular scenario, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of more. Telling your parents you're staying at a friend's place, but you're not actually there.
Rebellion. What?
Rebellion.
What if it was an overnight at church?
Why are you lying?
Why am I lying about the
Yeah.
overnight?
About where you are.
Okay.
Because you're lying because you know there's something wrong with it. And there's something you don't want them to know. So rebellion.
Rebellion.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm checking myself now. Deciding
Think
to
so.
move out suddenly because you're tired of being told what to do. But this is move out of house altogether.
I think for me it depends. It depends on how do your parents feel about it. If it's move out forcefully, rebellion. If it's, you know what, we don't agree, but do you? Then independence.
Okay.
I think it's not about heart posture. I've been thinking about it, and I think a lot of difference between rebellion and independence goes to your motive.
Yeah.
What is your motive? Because you can move out of home. I mean, if you can manage yourself, I'd be the happiest. You go. But if you're going just because you want to
You
get
don't
out
to
of
be
the
told,
boundaries,
And you don't want to be
then
told
I
what to
think
do.
there's rebellion in that. Because your heart posture
Yeah.
is defiance.
True. That's
All
true.
right. All right. So we can
Rebellion.
see that looking at these different scenarios, that's what the youth are doing today. And so there's that failure to reconcile rebellion and independence. So as we get into the meat of it, what is the difference between being rebellious and being independent? Both of us. But Mrs. Kalma, could you go first?
Oh, I was just about to.
You're about to deflect the theory that side.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
Over to you.
So I think rebellion is acting out in defiance of convention, resisting authority. I think that is rebellion. Independence, I think, is being able to manage yourself and do what you can do because you can support yourself. You can make your own decisions and you can live by the decisions that you make.
Okay. So rebellion, defiance, and independence, being able to live by your decisions, holding yourself responsible along that line.
Yes.
All right. Paula.
I wouldn't go away from that. I think rebellion is resisting authority, really. Just saying, this person is in charge of me and I don't want them to be in charge of me right now because I don't trust that they know what it is that I want to do. That's rebellion. Independence is being able to recognize the responsibility you have and then say, because of that responsibility, I want to lead my way in a specific way. So I make my decisions leading to... do you get?
Yeah.
So it cliche, I know, but it like the whole country situation. Uganda didn't just wake up and say, British, out, we're
get
tired
out.
of you. No, it was a whole agreement of, you know what, we are now able to stand on our own as a country. I think we can have leaders that are Ugandan. So thanks, but like time up. It's time for us to, you get, it wasn't defiant. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I think I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But now I have this idea in my mind. There's this picture in my mind that rebellion and independence, though different, there's some things that, you can easily mistake for. What do you think are some of the things that a person can go about life thinking that it's actually independence, but in reality is complete rebellion?
Who's going first? I can go? Okay.
I feel like I should do picky ponky, but
The ability to make my own decisions, because it looks like it's the same thing. Even when you're being rebellious, it's like I'm in charge of my life. I am making my own
it's
decision.
me.
Yeah, that's essentially the similarity. Is you're at the center. Even independence, it's you. It's your decisions, your choices. You're at the center. Why it's masked? I think independence is a lot more straight and narrow. It's a lot more. There's nothing to hide. Like if my parent wants to see what I'm doing, I'm happy for them to see, but like I'm the one making the decision.
yeah.
That's independence. So where I think the line gets blurred is I'm at the center of this decision. I want to make my own decisions, but like I don't want you to even see because I know there might be like
man,
kaka.
you might come and conflict.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? Though?
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Kind of does. Mrs. Kalma.
I think I agree. I can't quite think of another one right away where there's that close
Yeah.
blurring of the lines. Because most of people, I mean, independence is about the maturity, being able to, as I said, make your choices and live by them. And rebellion is also a bit, just that it's a
yeah.
bit more immaturity, but you're still making the decisions for yourself.
We thank the Lord for grace because they that rebel, we extend grace to them, receive them with open arms, and hopefully we get them right back up. But here at Power Sex Money Podtalk, it's real people, real stories.
That's
And
the
I
part.
am sure that there are stories that we have that we'd like to share. And I want to start with Paula.
Why?
Why?
Pinky,
Why
pinky,
not?
ponky.
Yeah, Piggy, piggy,
Let's
boggy.
do it. Let's do it.
So the question really is, what's your experience with rebellion? And we're getting as
Are you ready?
deep.
Is the question. Are you ready? Anyway,
Are you ready?
my experience of rebellion. So, first of all, I one of the things that I think God gave me that the devil tried to use was I am quite strong-willed. I'd like to say one of the things I love about myself is my decision-making process. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I am strong-willed, I always had I know where I want to go. I know what I want to be. Now, who is going to stop me?
Hey, who's going to tell me otherwise?
Yeah. But you see that for a long time, it wasn't guided. It wasn't grounded. So because of that, it became rebellion. What I'm saying is it was for most of my life. But maybe the story that I can tell is Compass.
Oh.
So first of all, I got my first job in my Essex VAC. I also did like 5 jobs in Essex VAC alone. Yeah. This is a fact not many people know, but I did mobile money.
Ha, you were there.
Yeah.
Biddy, biddy, yeah.
I did mobile money. I sold shoes. I sold apples. I sold porridge. I also sold many personal and family belongings.
Okay.
So you are an auctioneer of your...
Yeah. But all of that was because I started the businesses because I wanted financial independence. Like I hated the whole idea of asking for money. So I really wanted to be able to say, and meanwhile I was in church. I was. So I wanted to be able to say, I'm going to church and I don't have to knock on mommy's door. So that she reminds me of the dishes I haven't done. And
The floor's dirty.
yeah.
The guest at
First
home.
of all, if my mother is watching, I love you, Mom.
I love you so much.
I do. But yeah, so when I started those businesses, I got a taste of hard work and money together. So I can't say I didn't value money, but I also, like it was like, yeah, I work for my money. The thing I used to be proud of is I don't have to ask to do my hair.
Come on.
So I was quite proud of that. I was very proud. So anyway, because of that, I started being independent quite earlier than my friends.
Okay.
So right after high school, into VAC, I did those many businesses. Then I got into radio.
Diddy.
And Christian radio station, right? You're surrounded with amazing people who are Christian, who are like keeping you grounded.
Yeah.
Then, now remember, please maintain that I am making my own money.
From the 5.
Yes. So much so that that season of my life was also very tough on my parents at that time. So they weren't very forthcoming with like money for pamphlets, money for what.
All these printing. What?
Yeah, but because I was earning, I was earning very little money, granted, but it was money. So I didn't really need to ask. So that's the background, right?
Yeah.
Come a certain year, allow me not to say the year because
For the purpose of...
my bosses at that time are going to say,
like we found you
this
now.
girl. Yeah. But anyway, so I lost a friend. When I lost a friend, it was unexplainable for me. It was like, first of all, I had never gone through grief. I didn't know how to deal with grief. they passed on, like not lose of
Like, yeah.
falling out, they passed on. I didn't know how to deal with grief. But I also had a background of alcohol. My family is they're quite the drinkers. Yeah, so because of that, I was very exposed to alcohol. It was a normal thing. It wasn't like frowned upon or whatever. So when I lost a friend, I decided to expose myself to people who I thought got it. I hated that in the Christian space, everything was, but God will take care of it. No, but like I'm asking why they died like that. So because of that, I was trying to look for some sort of, first we get it. In fact, we want to be depressed together.
Yeah, we want to feel
Okay.
it. I understand.
So we are sitting in a space and like grieving together, but essentially we are wasting away. We're
You're
drinking
not
and getting
getting any
drunk and all of
progress.
that.
Yeah.
So I was quite rebellious. By rebellious, I mean to God, first of all, because I can't say I didn't know what to do. I knew what to do. I knew how to live, right? I knew what the good coping mechanisms were. I knew how to get help. Like I said, I was surrounded by church. So I knew the places to go to. But I said, no. Who's going to beat me because I've not gone to ask for Pastor Eddie's help? Or like I've not asked my team leader for help. No, I said I need to do what I want to do. So I was rebellious to God, but obviously to my mom as well, because she's a Christian and she always spoke strongly against being in the bar and being in the club and doing all those things. I remember, again, I love you, mommy, if you're watching. But anyway, I remember a time I went to the bar and we got so drunk. Like the drunk where you're falling.
Like a knockout.
Why do you know that?
Why do you know that? Let us know in the comment section why you know it and when you're going to stop doing it.
Done.
Back to you, Paula. Come on.
Anyway, so I like was really drunk and I said like, I can't go to my mom's house like this. Now, please note, I was commuting at the time.
Okay, so you had to
But
go home.
she wanted me to commute because she had explained in this season I'm not able to financially support hostel and all of that.
Yeah,
But I said, who's making money? Me. I'm making money. So anyway, so I had decided to stay with a friend and like split the cost of rent.
Okay.
So that day I was supposed to go back home. I did not, because I said, how do I say hi, mommy? And like,
What was following
it's some
this?
alcohol breath.
Oof.
So because of that, I went to a friend's home. You can tell by my hesitation the gender of said friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank God. Now, God is kind. He covered me a lot in that time. So he protected me from all the things that could have gone wrong in that time. But it was just, I think for me, that was like, I have been low, but this is low.
Like
This is, why am I in?
Never seen before.
Why am I in a man's house? Drunk, vulnerable, like this. Like, thank God he was a good man. He did not, but like, it was just weird. So that was rebellion. The other scenario that I can remember was right there is I finished work and it was one of those low moments. Now, it wasn't just the grief, it was also the guilt of how I've handled the grief of I've been drinking, I've been partying, I've been doing all these things. And then it's just now sinking. The guilt is making me sink deeper. So I finished work very well and I called my friend. I said, so, do you want to go to Mukono? Mukono.
So what district were you in before?
Kampala.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we went to Mukono to drink because the alcohol in Mukono was cheap.
Even after the transport costs.
So this friend of mine, her dad had given her a car and he used to fuel it and all of that. So it worked in my...
Every piece was there.
Yeah. So we went and really, really got drunk. So drunk that her and I went to the bathroom. If you've been to a bar, you know how disgusting bathrooms are. The bathrooms in bars.
Bar bathrooms.
They're very disgusting. There's like puke, pee, everything is there. Sorry for being Yeah. So we locked ourselves in the bathroom and we were both crying. And we had no idea why we were crying. But it was just the weight of rebellion, of having to hide all these things of like, you're one person during the day. And when people are looking at you, you're proper and upright and like all of that. And then in the night, you're wasting away. And
Completely different.
yeah, I interpret it as that. In that moment, we didn't think that was it. We thought, life is just so hard. Yeah, but that was another law that made me feel like, yeah. So I don't know if we're talking about redemption now,
Not yet. We're getting there.
okay, cool.
We're getting there.
but that's my experience of rebellion. If you judge me, I will block you. Anyway, I'm joking.
But just riding off that experience really
Yeah.
quickly, a question just came to my mind. Do you think that for someone to move from rebellion to independence, it requires those very difficult experiences? Or can someone just flip the switch?
Is that to me?
Mrs. Kauma.
Okay.
I think most people will have an encounter of some kind that causes you to move from one to the other. And it could be a loss. It could be not a loss of a person. It could be loss of a relationship. It could be... I know people in schools who've been very rebellious. It could be getting expelled.
Yeah.
That wakes you up. Or the threat of expulsion.
Sometimes
wakes
just
you
the
up.
threat.
Sometimes just a threat. And when you get off, you know that, this time I've got off, but next time it might not be so good. So then you straighten yourself out. But I think most people, something has to trigger the switch.
Yeah.
It could just be an encounter with the Lord. Maybe you walk into church and that day the message is just for you and you know that this is God speaking to you.
Yeah.
And that causes a switch. But there is something that triggers you from one to the other. And I think there's also something that triggers you into rebellion.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What are some of the things that can trigger you into rebellion? Because it looks like a digression now.
No, I think, I always ask my children when they were going through that phase, who's discipling you? We have movies, we have peers, we have, I don't know, now it's social media. So there's so many influences in our lives. And any one of those teaches you purportedly
Something,
how
yeah.
to behave. So how do we learn how to slam a door when your parent calls you?
So it's on
Or
TV.
watch it on, exactly. So who's
Yeah.
discipling you?
Yeah.
So I think all of those things kind of train us sometimes, and the enemy uses that to get you into rebellion. And then when you start, you somehow keep going until something wakes you up.
Yeah.
Paula, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think, I feel like individual experiences reveal the why. For example, peer pressure alone, I genuinely don't think it is a trigger, but it's not like a cause of into rebellion. If someone has the ability to influence you to rebel, it was there.
It was already
It was there. It just needed a trigger, and that trigger happened. And normally, to walk out of it, you have to identify what was that thing. Sometimes it's self-esteem. Sometimes it's a vacancy. Sometimes it's something is not adding up. But like peer pressure in itself, grief in itself, like for me, because for me it was grief. It was losing a friend. I can't say it was entirely grief. Grief was the trigger, but already there was like a desire to just do the thing I want to do, or live my own life. And where did that come from is always a good question to ask.
Okay.
You have to sit with some very uncomfortable emotions.
And look
To
yourself
figure
in the
that out.
mirror and say,
Mirror, I don't know if it works. More like look at the Bible.
oh, come on.
Yeah, because it always it exposes. So,
And that just trails back to discipleship. Who are you being discipled by?
Yeah.
So do you think that when we, come here or come to life, when we are born, that we are born inherently rebellious or inherently independent? Independent being the good, right? But what do you think is our natural compass direction? Are we leaning towards rebellion or are we leaning towards independence?
Well, the Bible says we are all sinners. So I think there is the natural tendency to rebel. A young child will tell you no. I think most kids, one of the first words they learn
is no. Mm-hmm.
And you ask, why are you saying no? Do this, no. Yeah. So I think there is in us that inherent desire to step out and do what we want. And the training and reading the Bible and following Christ is about teaching you not to do what you want, but what God wants. And as long as we stay in what we want, we'll become rebellious. If we go with what God wants for our lives, then we become independent.
So there's no independence without God being in the equation.
There may be.
For us
Maybe.
that have chosen that life,
Us that have chosen. Okay.
it's not true independence.
So
Without-
true independence. So there's a falsetto of independence. All right. So Paula, we got to hear your experience as the rebel.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Kama, what about your experience as a person being rebelled against?
As a parent? Oh, it's tough on a parent when a child is rebelling. It's really, really tough. I mean, many of us, we think you've done a very good job. I'm sure your parents thought so. You've taken your children to children's church.
Probably still think so, Bambi. It's just
They've
like-
grown up and you think
Yeah.
you've done the right job. You've trained, you've gone by what the Bible tells you, train a child in the way they should go. And when
They will
they've
not
grown
depart
up, they will
from
not
it.
depart from it. And then they hit this age where they think, what did you say at the beginning? You think you know,
Yeah.
you know everything.
By the way, you're
And
convinced.
your parent is just being the limiting factor. And we never understand. This is the first accusation thrown at you. Mom, you don't get it.
Yep.
You don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand what life is like. Our days are different
From your time.
from your
I
times.
think that's it.
What else has been
I
thrown
can
at
do
us?
what I want.
And so you've already been isolated or put aside because you don't understand. So as Paula said, they try to find somebody who they think will understand. And mom and dad are not it. So it's very difficult because most of us have had a very good relationship with our children. And then you get to this stage and you really don't know what to do. If you try to talk about what they're doing wrong, you're judgmental.
Yeah. And the gap grows.
And a gap grows. If you don't say anything, your conscience is telling you
You're
need to say
condoning.
something.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really tough journey for a parent having a rebellious child. It's a very, very tough journey.
Okay. I would want to know what mechanisms did you have in that
cope?
moment here to cope with, I want this child to grow in the way of the Lord, but they don't seem to get it. In that, like, leave alone the after, or, like in that moment, sitting with those emotions, what was that like?
I think for us, the greatest coping mechanism, and I keep thanking God that both of us were around. I mean, I had my husband, and we could talk about these things and pray together. So that was a big one. Then we found that there are also other people going through exactly the same thing. And knowing that it's not just you, when it's just you feel there's a lot of guilt because you think maybe there's something I missed,
Maybe I
something I didn't do right.
Yeah.
Something, there's a lot of guilt you carry.
Yeah.
And you have to get free from that guilt as a parent. So discovering that some of our friends were going through a similar situations, similar rebellion of children who you thought we brought them up well, and now they're seemingly going the wrong way. So it was really knowing that. And then we started praying together. So prayer for us has been one of the greatest coping mechanisms. And through prayer, I learned to forgive myself for anything I had done that would push my children into rebellion.
Yeah.
Because if you don't forgive yourself, then the devil wins twice.
Correct.
He's got the child rebellious.
He's got
and
you.
he's got you guilty.
Yeah.
So he's got a mega win.
Yeah.
And, when you forgive yourself, then even the relationship improves.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, because
but it
then-
does improve.
Yeah.
Even in their rebellion. Because you're not looking at what didn't I do? You just know, let me keep praying for this child.
Yeah.
Let me be a shoulder they can lean on when they want to. Always keep the doors open so that a child knows I can go home.
Yeah.
And go home without you saying, if you had done what I told you,
you
this
didn't
would
be in
never
this
have
position.
happened.
Or, hey,
So-
you thought you'd not come back.
Exactly.
I told you you'd be here again.
We've got to be very gracious in the way we let
welcome
them
them
come
back.
home, so that they can come home, because that is the safest place, to
And
go
it-
back to.
And it should be the safest place.
Should be.
The story that comes to my mind is the prodigal son.
Exactly.
The father is sitting with open arms after going and selling his inheritance and all of that.
It's tough, eh?
It's tough.
Can imagine.
I'm telling you. But we've talked about rebellion and independence. We've differentiated it. We've got two different perspectives. But there are people that are watching us online right now, and they need to hear, what would a young Mrs. Kauma do right now as she gets into that line of children entering that stage of rebellion? And what would a young Paula Kaitesi, the rebel, do to get out of that and into that independence as soon as possible?
So, one of the things that made me get out was understanding that I had influence. Now, not in the bougie way of I have influence, no.
Okay.
I went to a bar, found a guy who knew I was in church, and he was sitting across me while I was tanking
When you
shots.
were taking your
And he kept looking at me, and I kept wondering, why is this guy looking at me? And then later he was like, "You're Paula, right?" Oh my God. Anyway, a few weeks later, that guy was in a crash. He was found drunk driving, and he passed on. And for me, that was an extremely painful experience. Why? Because I felt like if I knew that I had influence, I had the opportunity to be for this guy an evangelist, to tell him this is not the way, you know. But what was I doing? Joining him. Because even when he recognized me, I was just like, yeah, man, we all have our flaws. We all have our weaknesses. Well, it is what it is. But I'll be in church on Sunday. So
You'll see me there.
you see me there. So you see, what I would tell a young Paula to do is invest in actually discovering who God has made you to be. Do you actually think you have influence? Are you walking purposefully knowing I could die tomorrow? Have I achieved my why of living? After that, I embarked on a journey of finding out I can't possibly be here to speak publicly every now and then. No, it must be deeper than that. Like, what's the actual purpose of me being on earth? And I came up with a mission statement I was telling you guys earlier, and a vision and all of that. And all of that was so that everyone I encounter knows that I am sold out to loving the Lord. And I know that if I had understood that I had influence earlier, I would probably not have. I would know that it matters. Everything I do matters. Every shot I took mattered. Every time I decided to go out in little outfits, it mattered. It mattered. So, yeah.
So understanding that you have influence, but also investing in understanding why God has put you here.
Why are you here? Seriously
your
though,
why?
why are you here? Why are you on earth?
Why are you here?
It really cannot be to just do your job. It's deeper than that.
Or to rebel. Surely it's not to rebel.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Definitely not to rebel. Mrs. Kauma,
I
what did you
think a
tell
younger
young?
Mrs. Kauma would recognize that children are going to grow very fast. And so make the best use of the time when they're still very young, build good relationships with them, and learn how to talk about everything. There should be no subject that is taboo. Because I've learned that later on, even when they hit a brick wall, your words come back. So if at least they've heard it from you,
That's true.
and
It's very true.
help them talk through their decisions. Why are they making this decision? So rules should not just be rules because they're there, but we need to talk through why the rules are there, what we're trying to safeguard. Even if they don't listen then, but I've learned that they don't forget. And so I would do that and also tie that to how God's love for us is a protective love. So even when God limits certain things, He's doing it to protect you,
Out of love.
not to harm you.
Yeah.
So I would definitely spend more time doing that.
So spending more time fostering that relationship. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, me as the former rebel,
I actually,
Would that have
you know
helped you?
what?
Would that have, yes,
Yeah.
it would. It would have helped me.
I wanted to ask if you have had experiences of being a rebel, but
Have I?
guess, have you?
Have I? Have I really?
Are you?
Am I still? But it's been such a joy to host both of you. Thank you
you.
so much, Mrs. Karma, for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
Paula for sharing with us.
Thank you.
We've all been so blessed to just talk about rebellion and independence. And I know you've been touched, so please don't be stingy, but share this link. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because you need to find out this information as it comes every single month. Remember, it's always real people, real stories, and real life solutions.
It's on Power FM.
And it's on Power. And it's on
miss that
Power
one.
FM 104.1. But until next month, we out.
Bye.
What an amazing show. Thank you for watching Power, Sex, Money. Real people, real stories, real solutions to life. As a church, we don't want you to just listen to amazing testimonies and stories, but we believe that while we listen to these great stories, God convicts our hearts. And so, if you like to be prayed for, if you're seeking for counseling, please don't hesitate to call the number below. If you want to give your life to Jesus, you are very special to us. Email us, connect@watotochurch.com. We love you and see you next month. Bye.